Kia ora, good morning, morning. How did you sleep? Good morning. I just woke up. I've been up just a little bit. Hang on. Had a shower, had a coffee. Well, just making my coffee now. Just, oh, God. I woke up just a little bit ago, had a shower, made my coffee, and I'm having my coffee because I've been saying I'm just sitting in my little creative bubble, getting myself ready for adventures new. So remember the other day I did a video where I was talking about how I've been writing the suspense thriller movie. It's a horror, but I've already got a supernatural horror. But this is like a horror, but it's like a suspense thriller as well. I looked up the genre of it, and it's like an action suspense horror thriller movie drama. Hang on. And remember, I was saying like I didn't know what to call it, and I was going to call it the Domovoy. And I said, but as you know, with everything that I create, everything's subject to change. So when I decided that Switzerland was a place where I wanted to be, I started looking up Swiss folklore and mythology, and looking up their gods, and because they were originally pagan, and then when Rome conquered them, and that they became Catholics and Christians, and it all kind of took off from there. But before that, they were pagans, and they were Germanic, and Celtic and all of that. So because obviously in my stories, from like my vision of the storybook international, right through to characters that I put in the Art of Creation, my animated TV series based on the news network for the Ministry of Souls and the life of all the characters and all that sort of thing. I want to incorporate as many faiths and religions and folklores and mythologies and that from around the world as I can, because of the fact that my streaming service is going to be one that you'll be able to access from all over the world. You'll be able to buy our subscriptions and that, just like Netflix and YouTube and all of that. But what I've created is so much more than all of it, which is why when I design my gaming chair, if you sign up to I call it my streaming service, it'll make sense. Like when I call it my streaming service for now, or my server for well, anyway. When you interact my streaming service with my gaming chair and all of that, it's going to revolutionise the way people engage with watching videos and playing video games and watching movies and listening to music and all that sort of thing. Just remember, if I go quiet, it's because I'm having a sip of my coffee. I can't wait to get my own place where I can have a gas stove so that I can have percolated coffee again. I miss using the percolator. Anyway, so I've been writing. I don't know I don't know what to call it. I change stuff all the time. It has to be perfect for me. I'm a writer, and I know I'm going to end up directing movies as well. I know I'm going to end up directing movies. There's some movies that I've written where I will want to be the director on it. And I know that there's a couple of things that my son Thomas will want to be a director on as well. He had a dream years ago, and we were talking about it the day I got locked up. Where it will be on chest cam, on the police cam. He had a dream where him and his brother, and he was only like maybe 9 at the time, were picking flowers to feed to the queen bee. And she was so happy with the flowers that they were picking and feeding her. She produced golden honey, and she fed me, Thomas, and Gabriel the golden honey. And it was, this honey was so powerful it let you see into the future. And Gabriel was rescuing whales, like helping whales on a boat, helping whales, shooting a flare at something and removing a spear from a whale, and like, helping, like healing the whale. I was on the red carpet with Tuxedo Man. That was our first introduction into who Tuxedo Man was going to be, my future husband. But at the time, I was with Martin. And I think we were in his room watching YouTube videos, in Thomas's room watching YouTube videos. And that's when the Queen Bee came in. Of course, my name in Hebrew, Debbie, means bee. It can mean honeybee and queen bee as well. But we didn't understand back then like we do now. So yeah, I was on the red carpet. Thomas said to me, because I was still losing weight then, I said to him, what did I look like on the red carpet? He said, Mum, I've never seen you look so beautiful. He said, you looked young, and he said you were in this beautiful ball gown, like in this beautiful gown, and you had this man in a tuxedo on your arm, and you were walking down the red carpet, and everyone was taking your photos. And Thomas was in a director's chair, and they were building a movie set, and Thomas was in the director's chair, and it had director on the back. So, but there's stuff that we've created together, like Night of the Black Sun, where even though he wants to act in it because he wants to do his own stunts and do his own sword fighting and that, because he's taking HEMA classes and all of that. So he also wants to direct it as well, because when you're a writer, these are your children. What you create, everything you create, they're your babies. Which is why I got so offended when people kept stealing my stuff, because it's like stealing my babies. But you know how you want everything to be because you created it, and it needs to be what you envision in your head in order for it to feel right. Which is why I constantly change names and characters and this, that, and the other, because it needs to feel right. It needs to gel. You know how I was talking yesterday with the letter K? When things don't stick, they fall away. Sometimes you have to wait to see if things stick. Like with friendships and relationships, and that initially you stick and then they fall away. The friendships and relationships fall away because after a while your frequencies change to a level where you don't gel anymore, so you fall away. And then you go off and do your own thing, and for me it's evolving while the rest don't. So names and characters, and like it changes a lot until I start getting the scripts down to hand to the actors and actresses, and the people that are going to help me finish the scripts, and like the script writers and all that sort of thing. Things will constantly change, but that's why Thomas and I will, when I do my Talent's Got the Factor Idol, when I go out to look for my acting talent and my voice talent and my singing talent and music talent and all that sort of thing, Thomas and I are going to be the judges on it. We had a big discussion about it because we created these characters, and we need to know that the people we get to do the voices for them, or play them in the movies, fit who we've created in our head. So I know I'll end up like directing some of these movies. So with the Domovoy movie, and because you have to understand that I intend on making a lot of money around my movies. We're going to have a theatre, a movie theatre, where we will play all our movies, play indie movies and classic movies and all of that, but we will play all our movies. If I get to build foundations all around the world, we will be playing a lot of movies because we'll be playing all their movies and all our movies and blah. Because when they're not making my stuff, they can make their own, and then we'll play them in our theatres. So, and I want to design my theatre to look like an old Victorian one, with the metal seats and that. We want to movie theatres and that have been torn down. I want to go and buy their stuff, and recycle it all. I know exactly how I want it to look. So, I intend on making a lot of money for the month of Halloween and Christmas, which is why I need to live somewhere where it snows. And I'm putting a lot of energy into making horrors and thrillers and all of that because I want people to come to our theatre and just be immersed in the experience like I did when I was a kid and I used to go to the movies. I was really lucky in the fact that I grew up personally, I think, during the best time for movies, the 80s, the late 70s and the whole of the 80s. Our generation, Gen X, we got the best for movies and TV because we got everything from like Sesame Street and the Muppets, Fraser Rock and like the Goonies and Karate Kid and Enter the Dragon and Star Wars and like all of it, the A Team, MacGyver, Wonder Woman, $6 Million Man, the Bionic Woman. We got all the movies that they're trying to remake now, like Gremlin, and I know you're going to be rattling off movies in your head, but I've only just woken up, so bear with me. But they inspired me to write everything that I'm writing now. Probably 90% of the stuff that I've created, that I've written, is inspired by things that I watched growing up as a kid. And then the rest is based on my real life, just told through artistic license. And this Domovoy movie, I needed like a suspense thriller that was a horror, but a suspense thriller drama kind of genre of film. And so I've been sitting here thinking about it because with unorthodox I've already got some, with the Nietzsche Steyer and all that, I've already kind of got Eastern European stuff developed, and I don't want to do two things based on the same thing because I'd be bored with that. It would make no sense to my brain if I was paying tickets to watch those movies and stuff. So I've been studying Swiss mythology and just looking at their folklores and all of that, and I think I've found, instead of calling the movie the Domovoy, I think I want, just for now, I'm putting a pin in it. It will make sense once you know what the movie is. I think I want to call it Mountain High. I have spent weeks and weeks and weeks trying to come up with a name that fit this movie, this suspense horror thriller movie. And I think I want to call it Mountain High. And instead of the Domovoy, instead of the story of the mythology being based around the Domovoy, I've found this character that's perfect, based on Swiss and like German, Austrian mythology, and it's called the Tatzelwurm. And it's like a half cat, half snake, half cat, half reptile. Some people say it breathes fire. Some people say that it breathes toxic gas. And it's like, oh my God, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. So, yeah. So the movie's going to be called, for now, putting a pin in it, Mountain High, but the creature in it is going to be called the Tatzelworm. I can only imagine how they came up with that in order to scare people away from the mountains, but because they do that, they come up with things to keep people away from areas. Um, Especially the Romans were really bad for coming up with ways to keep people away from areas they didn't want them going near, because it's all going back to the Minoans, who were like not the original storytellers, but they were the ones that really based their civilization around the worshipping of, like, your minotaurs and that sort of thing. So yeah, the Tatzelworm. And then I even found one that's based on Santa Claus, and their Santa wears green, which was interesting. So when I make the Dear Satan Claus, and I will be making it because I'm going to sue the shit out of Paramount Plus and everybody else involved that took it. Mine's animated, like Operation Prep and Landing style animated, Wreck-It Ralph style animation. So I might make my Santa more. We wanted him to be, like the original Santa, not Coca-Cola Santa, but like European Santa, where he wore like the long coat, like from one of my favourite movies in the whole world, Rise of the Guardians. That Santa, the Alec Baldwin Santa. We wanted him to be more like that kind of Santa, and the Swiss Santa, he's just like that, but he wears green instead of red. So I might make him that Santa, that kind of Santa. But yeah, the Tatzelworm. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm sorry. But what it means is, because he's based in the Alps, which is perfect for where I was wanting to set the movie. When I saw it, I was like, oh, I was like, ding, 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 because it is set in the mountains. And yeah, it's I like to write stuff that's very twisty turny. This is one of these movies where you're not going to see it coming. You're not going to see it coming, which I love. I want people to get to the end of the movie and be like, oh, oh my god. So yeah, but the great thing is, the kids will be able to hang around like the Alps and the mountains and that, so we'll get to see a lot of that making the movie. You can sure as hell bet I'm going to want to watch this being made, at least pop in and help direct. But I'll get to employ locals. I'll get to put money into like local businesses, because we'll need hotels and stuff. But I'll be able to employ locals. Like, I'll put out like a casting call for locals to say, hey, do you what can you let us film in your shop, and we'll give you an acting role, and why don't you come on board and be actors? And because they seem like the sort of people around there that would be fully on board with encouraging children with their acting and their movie making talents. And there's so many places around there that would be perfect for filming this. I need forest, so it can't be too mountain based. I need to be somewhere where there's going to be a lot of forest, because the forest is important. The forest is imperative. There needs to be a river, there needs to be a forest, and there needs to be mountains in the background. So I'll need to go location scouting when I get there. And yeah, and then I'll get to find local talent and get Swiss kids acting, although the family might necessarily be Swiss, because the way that I've written the story, they're coming to the area because of the dad's work. I kind of thought maybe he might be a geologist or some kind of park ranger, but I was thinking like geologist, either a geologist or a cop, some kind of detective, um, that sort of thing. But I was thinking geologist because a geologist would make more sense for the storyline, if you know what I mean. But it's not important, it's not imperative. But they get flowing in for the dad's work. So the family might not necessarily be Swiss, but most of the other actors will be. So it means that I might be able to say to like Swiss cops and stuff like, do you want to play a cop in the movie? Because we're not going to be having famous actors or anyone famous in it. Like, my whole purpose is to not only like bring money into the local areas where we're filming and producing, and your farms and your agricultural businesses and that, like putting money back into the economy, which is why I need to get my visa application down perfect, because I'm got the country that lets me in, I'm going to be making a lot of money for them and paying back in so many different ways, not not only just with taxes and that, but I'll be taking a lot of pressure off their mental health institutions and their schools, and that, dealing with the kids that the schools don't want to deal with, that the parents can't handle, and that the mental health institutes are just shoving pills down their gob. I'll be able to take all that pressure off them and save them so much money just by dealing with the kids that they don't know how to deal with. SIP. I'll be creating a lot of jobs. I'll be bolstering, like, the agricultural industry and the dairy industry and all of that as well as tourism and the food and beverage and entertainment and all of that. I'll make it a hotspot for tourism and creating movies, and I'm going to be like the queen of festivals. Every month we've got like a different festival. So when I open the doors to my gates, like it's like I'm going to be pouring out gold for these people, because I have the Midas touch. Remember, I was blessed with the Midas touch. St. Joan of Arc, God, and Isis in my dream blessed me with the Midas touch. So, yeah, but the whole point of it is I want to get locals on board. I want to get the people of the region on board, help them make money, give them jobs, and if they want to appear in a movie, if they want to appear in a movie, knowing that it's for the children, I think there's going to be a lot of people that'll be like, yeah, go on then, like the local farmer, if we do a scene, because there's like this whole scene that we do in Night of the Black Sun that is based around a farm. I mean, it's a zombie apocalypse movie. You have to involve a farm. We were like, oh my God, I'm not even going to, it's like, oh my, did they just do that? Yes, we did. We did write that in the movie. Like, people will be shocked. But anyway, say to the farmer, if we dress you up like a zombie, can we have you like hanging off the tractor sort of thing, and see if they'll do it, and they'll get paid to do it. And then when we have our Northies, which is our North Star Awards, which is going to be our version of the Oscars, they'll get invited to come because they might get nominated and win an award, win a Northie for like best zombie farm actor in a movie. And then they'll get to dress up and walk on the red carpet, which is what Thomas saw all those years ago. And, and then we get to have our own, all the people that get invited and the kids and all that, they get to be the stars and, have our own version of the Oscars and the Emmys and all of that. So they're the stars in the universe that I create. And they'll get to walk the red carpet. It might only be a little teeny tiny red carpet, and it might only be in my little theatre where we hold the awards. But for the people that are there, they're going to feel special because it'd be invitation only. So not everybody can go, just like with the Oscars and that. And the people there are going to feel special, and it's all for the sake of the kids. So, yeah, the Tatzelverm, if I've pronounced it right. I think There they pronounce their W's V. Tatzelverm. If I've pronounced it wrong, I'm sorry, but I will learn it eventually. And that's instead of the domovoi, it's the Tatzelverm, and it's a cat snake. When I saw it, I was like, "Yep, that's it. That's the not the domovoi, Tatzelverm." So yeah, I had to share it because I'm all excited now. So that's one, and because I want to call it Mountain High. It has nothing to do with the school, but it's also a play on River Deep, Mountain High. River Deep, Mountain High. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, exciting. The name might change. I'm definitely keeping the Tatzelvin, but the name of the movie might change. But when you watch the movie, it'll make sense as to why I call it Mountain High. So I'm excited now. So that's another one I can tick off. So I've got my war movie sorted, the War Babies. I've got that sorted. I can tick that off. I need to do a drama now. I need to do a drama. I'm thinking some sort of cop movie. Sort of kind of Fargo-y sort of cop movie. But we'll just yeah, so that's my next one. I've got my martial arts movie in the background. I've still got to do my Disney princess style movie, the Amber Rose. Amber Rose. I don't know if I'm going to call it Amber Rose, but the princess is called Amber Rose. So that's my next two to tick off the list. The drama. I need a coming of age one as well. You know, like the Babysitters Club or what was that? Oh God, How to Make an American Quilt, or what's that one? The Traveling Pants one. Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, is it? I need to do a coming of age one, which is fantastic because it's massive acting roles for the kids. So yeah, so that's the next three I've got to work on. I'm so excited. I've got my Broadway. The Amber Wilkinson School of Witchcraft isn't just going to be like my haunted house / witchcraft school, but it's also been turned into our version of a Broadway musical. I've kind of been dabbling with that storyline. So yeah, so now moving on to the next lot. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.